What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Triple Play Fantasy YouTube channel. Baseball season is a week away, and we're seeing prospects get their shot, what seems like more than they ever have. I don't know if it's because a lockout is potentially opening teams' eyes on some things, but we have some realistic possibilities of some young up-and-coming pitchers starting out in their team's rotations. And ultimately, what's exciting about that is you can get these guys at the ends of your fantasy drafts, and they could be huge at potentially trying to help you win your league. So these are 5 prospects that I feel are going to be very big and potentially helping you win your leagues, but also guys that I think will start out the year in their rotation so you can grab them right now, not too much extra cost. Let's start off with our first guy here, and that's going to be Nick Lodolo, the Cincinnati Reds left-hander. And if you look just in 7 1/3 innings over his 3 appearances so far this spring, Lodolo has thrown just 51 pitches, only 5 of them outside the strike zone. He's in their top prospect just for the last couple of years now, and he's came in relief for the first time this past outing in his spring start, throwing 3 scoreless innings. 3 games so far this spring, 2 starts. The lefties faced just 1 over the minimum, striking out 3 and allowing 1 hit in his most recent outing. And he did the 3 innings in his last outing on just 16 pitches, all for strikes. Now, if you look across his minor league track record, he has a 13 starts between AA and AAA, and he has a 2-2 record with a 2.31 ERA, striking out 78 against 11 walks in just 50 2/3 innings. He throws his fastball, which can touch 96 at times with good sinking movement. He also has a slider that has developed into a really solid secondary breaking pitch with excellent late action. What's new is he's specifically starting to work on a changeup when he was back at the alternate training site in 2020, and he made strides in matching his arm slot to basically make it look just like his fastball. So hitters can't pick up on which pitch he's throwing between the fastball and the changeup. The deception is helping him obviously get more strikeouts and be deceptive more to the batters. As it stands right now, Tyler Mahle and Vladimir Gutierrez are the locks in that rotation. We're going to get to another guy that was a lock in a second. But Roster Resource has Nick Lodolo right now being the 5 in that rotation with a guy named Reiver Sanmartin. If you've ever heard of him, he's right now penciled in at 3. Luis Castillo is opening the season on the IL. Sonny Gray was traded. Justin Dunne and Mike Minor are also going to be starting on the IL. So they have no depth and they need pitching. I think Lodolo is one of the guys that gets a shot to start out the season in the back end of this rotation. But as we kind of alluded to, there's another teammate of his that's already been selected to start the season in the rotation. And to be honest with you, I made the graphics and notes for this video before the announcement, so we're just going to keep rotting with it anyway. And that's Hunter Greene. Now, before we get into Hunter Greene, same situation. We already talked about Tyler Mahle, Vladimir Gutierrez as the only locks in that rotation, so it made sense to give him a shot, and I'm really glad the Reds did. Now, Hunter Greene, if you remember, the number 2 pick just a few years ago, he split the 2021 season between the Reds AA and AAA affiliates, pitching to a combined 3.3 ERA with a 31.7% strikeout rate, an 8.9% walk rate, and a 43.8% ground ball rate over the life of 106 1/3 innings. A new career high in innings pitched for Greene, which is huge, and showing more that he's distancing himself from his 2019 surgery and lack of a minor league season in 2020. Obviously, the Reds have to be cautious with his workload, but his per start numbers should be actually pretty good as a whole. And he'll be given the opportunity to grow those innings this season. If you guys remember, this is a guy that was once touted how big he was. He could have been drafted in the first round as a shortstop, but he touches, at one point he was touching 98 to 102, and I think that velocity is there and it's going to be back there. But at the ultimately at the end of the day here, he's somebody that has that great fastball. He learned a new cutter that he's thrown about 91 to 93 miles per hour, and to give hitters a different look from his fastball. And I think he's going to be someone that's going to be electric for the Reds this year. So he's somebody that already been announced to be in the rotation and somebody you should definitely be grabbing in your fantasy drafts, no doubt. Our next guy here is a name that was very big in the prospect world just a few years ago, and now he's kind of fallen off, and that's the San Diego Padres' Mackenzie Gore. So if you remember Mackenzie Gore in 20 and 2021, he struggled with his delivery and he struggled to throw strikes and maintain his stuff. If you remember back in 2019 when he was the talk of all the prospect world, He was the in his age 20 season in AA as the minor league leader, minimum 100 innings pitched, in ERA with a 1.69 ERA and WHIP with a .83 WHIP, seeming like he was going to start at some point in the Padres rotation in 2020, but we know the mechanical issues like we talked about and the inconsistent mechanics and stuff, and it just seemed like he completely lost everything he had. But we knew when he was on the extension that Gore generates towards the plate. The 92 to 96 mile per hour fastball carries more life to it in the zone, and he combines that with a mid-80s splitter that became his go-to breaking ball pitch. And of course, he has his plus changeup and also a curve that used to be his go-to breaking pitch, but now the slider's kind of taken over there. But this spring, he's looked like exactly what we've been hoping for, touching 97, and he's showing solid command, which is the most important thing. Now, Gore did allow the first runs of the spring so far, but he's with 4 solid innings in that start. And he's making a case for that rotation. He's only allowed 2 runs on 4 hits and struck out 11 in the 9 innings so far in spring training. And if you look at the Padres rotation, Joe Musgrove, Yu Darvish, and Blake Snell, to me, are the only locks. Mike Clevenger just got shelled for 8 earned runs, and I know they're going to probably give him a chance, but who knows how long that lasts if he currently looks like he is right now. And the 5th starter is Nick Martinez or Chris Paddock, as right now they're potentially battling out for the 5th starter. I do think there's a better chance than not that Mackenzie Gore starts out in AAA, but if he keeps pitching how he is and Clevenger struggles and you can't necessarily trust Paddock or Nick Martinez, I think they could give him a shot, especially if they want potentially the best pitcher for that spot. He's shown it should be him, and maybe there's a chance he can start from opening day. The next guy that we're going to talk about is somebody that may not be as well known, but he's making himself known this spring training, and that's the Seattle Mariners' Matt Brash. Now, Matt Brash, the Mariners acquired him for reliever Taylor Williams and a player to be named later at last year's trade deadline, but a shoulder impingement kept him from pitching, and I mean, looks like the Mariners got a steal here, and he's been impressive on the mound and a big key contributor for what hopefully could be a big rebuilding season here, or a rebounding season for the Mariners as they look to make the playoffs with the longest drought in the baseball for the longest amount without the playoffs. So you obviously have his great fastball that sits in the mid-90s, and he's also topping out about 95. He's got a changeup that's his second best pitch, and he has enough difference between the two that it can become very effective. He also throws a slider and curveball, but again, he's so far in spring training, 2 games, 1 start. He's thrown 3 perfect innings in his last game. Obviously, there was a throwing error there. That was the only bad part of his start, but you just need to see the highlight that came in the 3rd inning when he sat down Christian Pache, Sky Bolt, and Tony Kemp in order, needing only 11 pitches to do so, utilizing that 90s fastball, the slider curve combination, and even a changeup to great effectiveness. And so far this spring, 5 innings of no runs and 7 strikeouts is very solid. You look at the rotation, Robbie Ray, Chris Flexen, Marco Gonzalez, and Logan Gilbert seem to be the locks there. But Roster Resource has him projected to be the 5th starter, and he's looked every part of it right now. The only competition to me right now could be Justice Sheffield, and right now he's projected to come out of the bullpen. So I think Matt Brash does win that 5th job, and he starts out the year with the Seattle Mariners in a year where it looks like that they're going to have their top prospect, Julio Rodriguez, starting as well. They're all in this year, and they're playing their best guys no matter what their age or prospect pedigree at this point. Last guy we're going to talk about is Reid Detmers, who has the most experience of any of these guys so far. He's part of a 6-man rotation with Shohei Ohtani. You got Noah Syndergaard, Patrick Sandoval, Michael Lorenzen, and Jose Suarez there. And Detmers started his spring training off as he was dominant in his first Cactus League start of the spring, striking out 5 of the 7 he faced across 2 scoreless innings, and that's all he's pitched so far. He had his curveball working great, amazing, getting the chase with the slider, pretty much throwing his fastball where he wanted to. Fastball topping out anywhere from 90 to 94 miles per hour, and he was in the upper end of that spectrum the other day. And he's got great deception too. He's able to command his pitches well, and something that we've been looking for from him. His 72 to 76 mile an hour curveball is obviously his best pitch. It's a plus pitch with a good shape to it. He's also got a sinking changeup that he needs to work to develop a slider occasionally in college after signing. But Detmers is somebody that the Angels need to pitch well this season, as pitching has been a big bugaboo for the Angels for as long as I can remember. And with the guys like Noah Syndergaard and Shohei Ohtani, Michael Lorenzen, Patrick Sandoval, these guys, one, have very much had injury concerns and questions, And then you've got guys like Michael Lorenzen and Jose Suarez, who haven't necessarily proved that they've been able to do it over a long, consistent amount of time with a track record. So Reid Detmers needs to come out there, and I think he does get to start in that 6-man rotation from the get-go, as where roster resource has him in there right now. And even though Detmers still only has 82 and 2/3 innings of professional experience, over 14 starts at AA and AAA last year, he had a 3.19 ERA, 108 strikeouts, and 19 walks in 62 innings. And he looks good. He looks really good. As long as he keeps working on refining his command and mixing his pitches in various counts, like he did on Sunday, he's going to be very successful for that Angels team and could be eventually the ace of that staff, depending on the health of Shohei Ohtani. If Ohtani's healthy, he could easily slide in at the number 2 spot with just the question marks they have in that rotation. But guys, that's going to be it for this video. Please, if you're enjoying the content, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment below other pitching prospects that you think could do well and could potentially start out the year for their teams here. And of course, if you want to support the channel, you can also check out our sponsor, OddsJam. Use that referral code listed there, and you can sign up free for 7 days. They support the channel, and you doing that helps support us. So we appreciate that. Guys, that's going to be it again for this video. Didn't mean for you guys to see me, but now you are. I'll put a nice image back on screen for you. And let us know if there's any other prospects we missed. But there'll be plenty more great prospect stuff coming on the channel. But until the next one, catch you guys soon.